Aham kraturaham yagyaswadham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajam aham agniraham hutam. In the Bhagavad Gita there are many references to yagyas or sacrifices. From this we can understand the importance of sacrifices in Vedic society. Okay. Sacrifice was central to Vedic society. All activities were performed ultimately for sacrifice. All the duties people were performed were according to the Varnashram system. And the culmination of all those activities was to offer everything in sacrifice. There's a sacrifice. What do you say about Krishna? I didn't say anything about Krishna. Everything is meant for sacrifice. Now sacrifice means to give something up. So sacrifice means that you give up something that is dear to you for the sake of a higher principle. Now sacrifices, they were offered ultimately for the pleasure of Krishna. Most people offered sacrifices for the sake of getting the rewards that came from offering them. Such people are called karmis. There are also others who offered sacrifices simply for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Such devotees we read about in the Bhagavatam, such as Prithu Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Krishna is very pleased with the sacrifices, especially if they are offered by pure devotees simply for his pleasure. But Krishna is pleased even with karmis who offer sacrifices, because those sacrifices, in the sacrifice, the Yagyeshva, namely the master of the sacrifices, or Yagya Bhuk, the enjoyer of the sacrifices, is Lord Vishnu. And in the Bhagavatam there are instances of Lord Vishnu appearing personally to accept the offerings. Even in the case of Daksha, Daksha was a great materialist, and he offended Lord Shiva. As a result, tremendous conflagration, a big dispute and fight, and eventually the whole matter was settled up. So when all the matter was settled, Daksha had apologized to Lord Shiva and was forgiven. Then again he started the sacrifice, and Lord Vishnu appeared in the sacrificial arena. And Daksha wasn't a pure devotee, but he was a very prominent person in society. He must have performed tremendous pious activities to have that position as Daksha, one of the great Prajapatis. So at that time when Lord Vishnu appeared, he established that he told philosophically how he is non-different from Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Here we see in this verse also, Lord Krishna is establishing his non-difference from the paraphernalia of sacrifice. Krishna says, Aham kratu, I am the ritual. Aham yagya, I am the sacrifice. Svadha aham, I am the oblation, the offering into the fire. Aham oshadham, I am the substance of the offering into the fire, namely the ghee. Mantra aham, I am the mantras that are chanted at the time of offering oblations. Aham ajyam, I am the butter in its melted state. Aham agnihi, I am the fire. Aham hutam, and I am the overall offering. The overall offering. So Krishna identifies himself with everything within the sacrifice, as he has already done in a previous verse of the Gita. Brahmarpanam brahmahavya brahmagno brahmana hutam brahmaiva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. Krishna says that I am the spiritual offering in the sacrifice. Which is offered is also spiritual. The fire is spiritual, the offering is spiritual. Those who make the offering, they become spiritualized. And all their activities are also spiritualized. Now there are many verses in the Gita in which Krishna states his oneness with the elements of the universe. Rasoham apsu konteya, I am the taste of water, Krishna said. Prabhasmi shashi surya yaho, I am the light of the sun and the moon. Pranavah sarva vedeshu, I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. Shabdake parushang drishu, I am the sound in ether and the ability in man. So the oneness of Krishna with everything in the universe is being established. And particularly the oneness of Krishna with the activity of sacrifice is being established. Of course this oneness is not to be misunderstood. Krishna is one with everything and simultaneously different also. This is the mistake of the impersonalists. They take that the Supreme Absolute Truth is in every sense non-different from everything. So this is actually being discussed in this series of verses. When Krishna discusses those who are bewildered, beginning from text 11 of this chapter, Krishna says that those who do not recognize my transcendental form and my dominion over everything are all fools and rascals. Those who do not recognize my transcendental form, Krishna says, and my dominion over everything, they're all fools and rascals. Probably easier if you just translate it instead of looking at that, because it's not an exact translation. No, but I'm translating it a little differently. Why don't you translate what I said? Alright, never mind. So, Krishna goes on to say that such people, they are defeated in all their activities. They're Rakshasas, they're Asuras, they're demons. Then Krishna says, who are the great persons, Mahatmas? They are my devotees, Krishna says. Then, what are the devotees doing? They're glorifying Krishna. Devotees means they're devoted, they glorify Krishna. Then Krishna discusses others who are not exactly the complete Asuras and Rakshasas, and who are not the Mahatmas, who are devotees of Krishna. They are also spiritualists, but they are inclined towards an impersonal understanding of the other. Then Krishna comes to the verse we are discussing today, that although the impersonalist sees everything as all one, that oneness is ultimately Krishna. That oneness is not an undefined oneness. That oneness rests in Krishna. Krishna is one with everything and simultaneously different. He is one with everything inasmuch as everything is produced from Him, everything rests in Him, and He is within everything and thus sustains everything. This understanding of oneness points to the greatness of Krishna, who is one with everything because nothing can exist without Him, yet He remains separate from everything. So this is simultaneous understanding of oneness and duality. Ultimately, the one who is on the impersonal path, if he's sincerely seeking for the absolute truth, he must come to Krishna. However, the other kind of impersonalist has been described in text 11 and 12, who deny and defy the supremacy of Krishna. Those who are opposed to the supremacy of Krishna, who are envious of Krishna. Krishna describes them in text number 12. Moghasha, Mogha Karmana, Mogha Jnana Vichetasa, Rakshasam Asurin Jaiva. And last line is Prakriting Mohining Shutaha. So you can read the translation. So in these verses in which Krishna says, I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, or I am the taste of water, in which Krishna establishes His oneness with the universe. There are so many verses like this. These are to help the non-envious impersonalist gradually come to an understanding of Krishna consciousness. And it's to help the devotee see Krishna in everything. It is not to establish a philosophy of undifferentiated monism. Undifferentiated monism? I know it's a little difficult to translate, but if you're going to translate, you have to learn all these technical terms. Undifferentiated monism. Maybe my terms I'm using are a little technical. Might be difficult for a first timer. He's doing a good job, but probably needs to study the technical terms more, because in our philosophy we have many technical terms. Actually, if you study someone who's translating the lectures, it's good if they've studied Prabhupada's books quite deeply, because to catch the idea, otherwise you may get the wrong idea. No, he's not a Mayavadi, but otherwise we'll beat you on the head. But you see, what do we mean by undifferentiated he is simply translating monism, but we are saying undifferentiated monism. What is the meaning of this? No, I'm asking the question, part of the class now. Why do we qualify monism by saying undifferentiated monism? Undifferentiated monism, the technical term is Kevaladvaitavad. Kevaladvaitavad. Now, Vaishnavas are also monists, because they accept that everything is one with Krishna, as Krishna states in these verses. But they are not proponents of undifferentiated monism. Proponents of undifferentiated monism say that there is only oneness. But Vaishnavas say that everything is one because everything is Krishna, but still there are varieties within that oneness. Specifically, Sripad Vishishtadvaitavad, which means differentiated monism or qualified monism. In other words, he accepts that everything is one with God, but that oneness is qualified. It is not simply a homogeneous glob, homogeneous mass. God has his, not only God, but everything within creation has its specific characteristics. That is called characteristic. The word is Vaishishya. Therefore we have the term Vishishtadvaita. Everything has its specific characteristics. Just like here, Krishna says, Aham kratur aham yagya swadaham aham aushadham. I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice, I am the oblation, I am the ghee, I am the herb. So Krishna is not different from all these things. But still, the ritual, the sacrifice, the healing herb, the oblation, they're all individual also. They're all different from each other. This is common sense. You don't have the term common sense in Lithuania? There's no common sense in this country? There is. It's pretty rare in every country, but it's not so common. It's quite uncommon. Anyway, this is common sense that everything has its own specific characteristic. Just like this microphone has the characteristic of amplifying sound. If someone wants to give a lecture on undifferentiated monism, he may ask for a microphone, and we'll give him a handkerchief. Here, you hold this close to your mouth and speak. No, I don't need that. I don't need to blow my nose. I need a microphone. But it's all the same. This and that, it's all the same. And anyway, we'd prefer if you use this, because we don't want to hear your nonsense lecture. So this is just a matter of practicality, that there are differences. Otherwise, why is Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita at all? If everything is all the same, what is the need of speaking Bhagavad Gita? If I am you and you are me and we are all together. Have you ever heard this wonderful song? I am you and you are me and we are all together. This is a composition by a Lennon-McCartney composition. I am the walrus. Some song must have been written on intoxication, some crazy song. So if everything is all simply the same, then what is the need of speaking Bhagavad Gita? Arjuna says, I don't want to fight. And Krishna will say, okay. And if Arjuna says, I want to fight, Krishna will say, okay. It's all the same. Whether you fight or don't fight, it's all the same, it's all one. See, the impersonalists want to establish impersonalism on the basis of Bhagavad Gita. But why did Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita? To convince Arjuna to fight. Arjuna didn't want to fight. But if it's all one, all the same, then what difference does it make whether he fought or not fought? There's a difference between fighting and not fighting. Krishna elaborately explained why Arjuna should fight. Krishna explained that you have to fight because I want you to fight. But then if everything's all the same, then why bother? You see, people, they presume that Bhagavad Gita establishes impersonalism. There's a very popular poster which you will find in all over North India, in so many offices and homes. It's written in Hindi, and it's the title is given Gita Sa, or means the essence of Gita. So they've given several points there, not facts, points, not facts, their opinions. So the first point is Jo hua wo acha hua, means whatever happened in the past, that was good. Jo bhi hota hai wo bhi acha hota hai. Whatever is going on now, that is also good. And jo bhi hoga wo bhi acha hoga. And whatever will happen in future, that will also be good. Everything is good. Everything is nice. Everything is wonderful. So I have a habit of removing this from people's homes whenever I go into them. And I ask them, first of all I ask them that this is supposed to be the essence of Gita. Where in Gita is this stated? Where does Krishna say that everything that was good, everything that is good, and everything that will be is good? According to this, Stalin was good, Hitler was good. If you say to me, oh, my father just died, so should I say, that's good? How are you? I have a terrible headache. Oh, that's good. Everything's good, according to them. Everything is good, everything is wonderful, everything is God's will. Then someone goes to court, that did you murder 20 people? Yes. Why? It's good. It's good to murder people. Everything is good. I learned it in Bhagavad Gita, from Bhagavad Gita as it is not. And this is not the message of Gita. This is impersonalism. I'm okay, you're okay. There's one famous book was written in America. I'm okay, you're okay. Means you shouldn't think that there's anything wrong. Whatever you do, you should feel good about yourself. You should have high self-esteem. You shouldn't have a guilty conscience. Even though you're a creep and you steal your wife's the money your wife earns to spend on drink. But anyway, I'm okay. I'm okay, you're also okay. Whatever you do, it's okay. Don't criticize. Don't criticize anybody. Just let everybody do whatever they like. This is the ethic of the modern liberal society. Don't criticize anybody, just let everybody do whatever they like. Yep. You see, even a few years ago, divorce was considered bad, homosexuality was considered bad, abortion was considered bad. All these things were considered bad. Premarital sex was considered bad. Extramarital sex was considered bad. That means you're already married, but you go off with someone else's wife or husband. But now the philosophy is, I'm okay, you're okay. Whatever you do, it's all okay. You want to have an abortion? Okay. You see, it's actually a very good idea. Because you didn't really want the child, it was just a mistake. You were so intoxicated, you forgot to take the contraceptive. So you didn't really mean to get pregnant, it wasn't really your fault. And if you have the baby, you won't really love the baby because you didn't mean to have it. So better than having a baby that we don't really love, let's be kind to the unborn baby and kill it. It's very good logic, isn't it? Why inflict suffering on the child? Just kill it. And this is okay. Everything is okay. I'm okay, you're okay. Prabhupada was told about this book, I'm okay, you're okay. Prabhupada said, this is not our philosophy. Our philosophy is, I'm okay, you're not okay. If you're in Krishna consciousness, that is good. If you're not in Krishna consciousness, then you're a fool and a rascal. Namang dushkutino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha maya varitagyana asarang bhavamashrita. Krishna says, many times people ask Prabhupada that, why are you speaking so strongly? Prabhupada regularly used words like fool, rascal, nonsense number one. Yaksha. Yakshas means cross between a yaksha and a rakshasa. Yaksha. So nonsense number one, animal, cats, dogs, sunis, suna, sure, same as Sanskrit. Okay, so there is some culture here, along with the meat eating and intoxication, some remnants of culture. So people would ask that why is Prabhupada using such strong language? I would say, it's not me, it's Krishna, he says it, not me. Krishna says, Namang dushkritino mudha. Those who do not surrender to me are all rascals. 4 categories of rascals. Mudha, which means fool, just working like an ass. Just like you hear all these cars, people just going here and there, working. And lowest among mankind means they take no interest in spiritual life. They're interested in so many things. Shrodavyadini Rajendra Nrinang Santi Sahasrashaha Apashyatam Atmatabdam Griheshu Grihavedinam. Those who are dedicated to Grihamedhi life, materialistic family life, they're interested in many things. And from the newspaper or the TV you can see there are so many subjects they're discussing. But the really important subject, spiritual knowledge, they have no interest in. They don't even see the importance of it. And even if we tell them that human life is meant for asking the correct questions, who am I? Where have I come from? What is the purpose of life? Who is God? If we say this to people, they say, we're not interested in that. Such important questions, they say, that's not important. Isn't it? Do you have experience of that? The questions which are of overwhelming importance, they say, we're not interested. We're interested in politics, sport, cinema, fashions, all absolutely nonsense things. So these people are called Naradhama, lowest among mankind. Then Maya Aparita Jnana, those who are apparently very intelligent but who are actually foolish. This refers to the great scholars and academicians who are very expert in writing. They're very expert in analyzing different aspects of the material world. But they miss the most important point, which is the purpose of life. They're so much busy making scholarly research to try to improve the quality of human life. They do not consider that for all their research papers to improve the quality of human life, however much you so-called improve it, you still have to suffer old age, disease, death and rebirth. And for all their scholarly papers, they're not improving the condition of society. They have so many people are making research how to stop crime, how to improve society, but society is simply becoming more and more hellish. More and more hellish. So they're bewildered. They're also rascals, even though they may speak in a very liberal way. But if they don't know Krishna, then they're also rascals. That's all. And asarang bhavam ashrita, out and out atheists and demons. So Krishna is speaking like this. Those who do not surrender to him, they are treated with very strong language. We may not use it in every circumstance, but we should know that without a sense of Krishna consciousness, then moghasha, mogha karmana, mogha jnana vichetasa, our activities, our knowledge will all be defeated. And therefore people imagine such absolutely absurd philosophies as everything is okay, everything is alright. But it's not that everything is okay, everything is alright. Without Krishna consciousness, for all our scientific advancement and scholarly dissertations, we are simply preparing ourselves to suffer birth after birth. So at least the devotee should understand this very clearly. Without understanding this philosophy clearly, we can be bewildered at any time. You see this idea, Gita Sa, everything is all so-called Gita Sa, everything is good. So many intelligent people are placing this in their homes and without considering. Or in the Western world, I'm okay, you're okay. So many intelligent people are accepting this. It means that they are material intelligent, but their spiritual intelligence is not awakened. By the power of Maya, their intelligence is covered over. So devotees, they regularly study Bhagavad Gita. We study this philosophy. We regularly hear this philosophy. It's sometimes studying the details of this philosophy, it may seem to be quite rigorous, but it is necessary for devotees to understand this philosophy in the details. Siddhanta balaya chitte na karaha alash, yaha hoite Krishna lagi suruda manosh. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says that we should understand the proper conclusion of scriptural knowledge. He exhorts us not to be lazy in this regard. We should apply our intelligence to understand this philosophy. Because by understanding this philosophy in the details, our mind becomes firmly fixed in service to Krishna. Therefore we have these classes regularly. So don't minimize the importance of these classes. It is necessary that we regularly attend them and regularly study and discuss this philosophy. It requires quite some surrender actually, to regularly sit and listen day after day to the philosophy. But it is required just so that we can fully absorb this philosophy. And even if we have theoretically understood this philosophy, we still have to go on hearing it, because we have been conditioned in the wrong way for many millions of lifetimes. And we are living in the atmosphere of Maya. Of course, within this temple, the atmosphere is directed towards Krishna consciousness. But otherwise, this whole material world, the whole flow is in the opposite direction from Krishna consciousness. The whole flow of material society is in the opposite direction to Krishna consciousness. The great majority of people in society thinking that eat, sleep, drink, be merry and enjoy, for tomorrow we shall all be dead. This is the meaning of life. So if we're not strongly fixed in philosophical understanding, then we may easily become victims again of this hedonism. Therefore we have to go on hearing regularly. Without that, our intelligence will become weak. Therefore sometimes we see even experienced devotees becoming victims of the material energy, either by becoming victims of gross sense gratification, or by inventing some speculative kind of philosophy. Krishna consciousness is a science. That's alright, he's new. So new devotees means just like children, we have to teach step by step and be tolerant, that's all. You can translate that also if you like. I said, for newer devotees, we have to teach everything step by step, and also be tolerant, just like teaching children. So anyway, Krishna consciousness is a science, and if we follow it properly, we will get the result, which is gradual development of love of God. But if we don't follow it properly, then we won't get the proper result. And someone may think, well, I followed sadhana so many years. Every so many days, I went for so many years, I went to Mangalarti, I attended the classes, so now I don't need to do so. But is this a very good understanding? It's just like in a factory, you have a chemical process going on. So you regularly have to check it and adjust it. At a certain stage, you have to have the chemicals at one pressure, at another stage at another pressure. If you don't adjust it properly at the right time, then there'll be an explosion. Just like there was some years ago in Belarus, Chernobyl, Ukraine. Oh yeah, just next to, I was in Gomel, which is in Belarus, which is just next to that. So I remember when I was there. After I went there, they told me the place was full of radiation. Thank you very much. So there was an explosion. So the engineers, they may say, well, for so many years we checked it. You know, there's only one time we didn't check it. So they don't get a medal that for 25 years you checked it. They get thrown in prison for one time they didn't check it. And as a result, there was a disaster. So in the same way, you may follow Krishna consciousness strictly so many years. But if you think, well, now I won't follow, then it may be a disaster. So we have to go on following strictly. And actually it's very nice to follow. Just like all the points in this lecture, I've discussed so many times in so many lectures previously. And you've probably heard at least most of the points many times also. But it's nice to discuss about Krishna. If we don't do that, then we're going to discuss about all nonsense. One devotee told me once in Vrindavan, he remembers, saw Prabhupada tell one sannyasi, go and give Bhagavad Gita class. Keep your mind engaged, Prabhupada said. Because if we don't have this program, then our mind will not be engaged. Just like sometimes devotees think, life in the temple, it's too much. Every day we have this regime. Get up in the morning, take a bath, go to Mangalarti. Too much. I think I'll be Krishna conscious in my own way. I will leave the ashram and practice Krishna consciousness at home. So you can do that in your own way, without any pressure. And without pressure you can practice breathing exercises, yogic breathing exercises, yoga nidra, snoring, nicely snoring. One time someone was asking Prabhupada, well, how can I make advancement in Krishna consciousness more? Prabhupada said, come and live with us. He said, can't I be Krishna conscious at home? Yes, Prabhupada said, but if you live with us, we'll wake you up early in the morning. Whereas if you don't, snoring. So of course, now our movement is becoming gradually more and more congregationally based. And that is also good. We want that. But those devotees who are living in the ashram, they should also realize that they're in a very fortunate position actually. Although life may be difficult in many ways, life is quite austere. You have to live closely associated with the devotees, very closely. And you might think, well, it's less pressure if I have my own arrangement. But to have that own arrangement, you have to arrange it. And to do that, you have to work like a donkey. You may think, well, I'm already working like a donkey living in the temple. But in the temple, you're Krishna's donkey. Everything you do is directly offered to Krishna. So it's a great opportunity. Often we see that brahmacharis and brahmacharinis, that they live sometime in the ashram and later get married. And we're not necessarily against that. We also need many Grihastha devotees to preach Krishna consciousness, Grihastha ashram. But you should understand there are also many problems in that ashram. And those who have the determination to stay brahmachari, that's very good position to make spiritual advancement from, without so many entanglements. So whether you decide to remain single, celibate, or whether you decide to get married, at least this time when you're living in the ashram, take advantage. There's a great opportunity to engage in so many kirtans, to be in an atmosphere where the focus is clearly on serving Krishna, to always have the opportunity to take darshan of the beautiful deities, to live directly under their shelter, within their house. To hear these classes is a very great opportunity. So take advantage of it. Understand this philosophy very clearly. We are not all one. Krishna is one with everything, yet He is superior to everything simultaneously. So try to understand this and blissfully dedicate your life in the service of Krishna. Don't become complacent or slack. Complacent? Don't know that word?
No.
Well, I don't know what it is in Lithuanian, so I can't tell you. Complacent means you think, no, everything is okay and I don't need to follow all these things. Not exactly. You can look at it's a very common English word. Take this opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness very seriously. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is there any question?
Practicing Krishna consciousness, what disease there may happen if you cut it?
If you cut it?
Yes, stop practicing it.
Why do that? Why even think of it?
There are some people who they leave Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, but why think that maybe I should also follow them? Better not even to think like that. Don't make an option. Just think that whatever happens, I have to go on practicing Krishna consciousness. What happens to those who leave Krishna consciousness? They become miserable. Have you seen those who have left Krishna consciousness? Sometimes we are shocked when we see them. Before they were bright and effulgent, and then afterwards they look terrible. One thing you'll find about devotees that sometimes people, non-devotees, they ask you, what is your age? And you tell them, and they're surprised. Because they always think that you look younger, isn't it? Because Krishna consciousness keeps you fresh and bright. Someone who leaves Krishna consciousness in a very short time, they look as if they became very old. Isn't it? Within a short time, miserable. They suffer more even than the karmis. The karmis, they've done a pretty good job of convincing themselves that they're happy or they're miserable. But someone who's experienced the bliss of Krishna consciousness, even though he tries to enjoy material life, he can never really get into the full mode of enjoyment. So better go on chanting Hare Krishna. Don't think it's going to be all easy. We tell people that when you come to Krishna consciousness, everything will be blissful. It's true. But along with that bliss, there are many tests. This material world is the place of difficulties. And devotees, they also experience difficulties in different ways. Sometimes very severe difficulties. But because they always remember Krishna, they cross over all difficulty. They always remain blissful despite so many difficulties. So the real question is that to ask for the mercy of Nitai Gaurachandra, that we can go on practicing in their service. Just like one married couple came to me once and said, we want your blessings. What for? We want a divorce. Please give your blessings. So it's like, what happens when we fall down? It's just like that. Don't divorce, don't fall down. Think of going up, not of going down. If you want to go to hell, it is there. The devotee, he may even go to hell to preach. Just like once in London, one devotee asked Prabhupada that, is Bhagavad Gita spoken on the hellish planets? And Prabhupada said, well, this London is just like hell, I'm speaking Bhagavad Gita here. And once on TV in England, Prabhupada was asked that, in your religion, do you believe in hell? You see, it's some puffed up British guy. They have this kind of television program where they try to catch out the other person and make him look stupid. You have this kind of program in Lithuania also? So his first question was going to be, do you believe in hell? Because he knew the devotees believed in hell and he wanted to make them look stupid. So Prabhupada said, yes. He said, just like your London, this is just like hell. It's always cold and dark and raining. So this guy, his whole profession is to make people look stupid. He had nothing to say. He was in the first sentence. He was absolutely stopped by Prabhupada. Prabhupada saw that he was absolutely flattened, absolutely smashed. So Prabhupada said, "But it is to your great credit that you have established such a great civilization in such a miserable place." Did you get that one? Did he translate that? Okay. It's to your credit that you have established such a great civilization in such a miserable place. He translated that. So, anyway, this material world is miserable and hellish. So a devotee may live in this world to preach, It's really not very good idea to even think that, well, if I don't practice Krishna consciousness, maybe I could break the regulated principles, and everyone else is doing it, and better not even to think like that. You see, if you eat meat, drink wine, have illicit sex and gamble, everyone in the world will think that is normal. Ita normal. Everyone will think that you're a normal person. Everyone will think you're just normal. But those who have knowledge, spiritual knowledge, they know that this is extremely sinful and covers our understanding of Krishna. So better not do that. Krishna consciousness means to become sane. Having become sane, don't again become insane. And if you're asking on behalf of others, what will happen to them? Those who have left Krishna consciousness, well, better try to bring them back. You know what happens when devotees, they leave the society of devotees? They immediately feel separation. What's the first thing they feel separation from? What is the first thing they feel separation from? Who can say? First thing they feel separation from is prasadam. You don't have that nice prasadam offered to the deities. Buy some bread from the shop and horrible food. You buy some pizza made outside, and devotees may think, pizza, but there's no bliss there. Even if you think there may be so many kami foods which are nice, you maybe think there are so many kami foods which are nice, like ice cream or something like that. There's no bliss in eating these things. It's not prasadam. It may be good for the tongue, but it just makes you miserable. Take it for granted, all these things. Prasadam, association of devotees. What a wonderful gift we have. We're so fortunate. Prabhupada has made us fortunate. Tomorrow is Balaram's appearance day. We didn't know anything about Balaram.